What it do, Durag Nation? I've been playing Star Wars Outlaws for the past 5 days, and now that I've beaten the entire game, I'm ready to tell you everything you need to know without wasting your time, so you can decide if Star Wars Outlaws is something you potentially want to throw money at. I'll tell you what I liked and didn't like while avoiding major story spoilers. So if the review helped you out at all, hit the like button to share it with more people, but if it wasn't for you, change it to a dislike. And thank you to Ubisoft for the early access.
Time to go.
Let's start with the graphics because there was a lot of discussion about the look of the game's main character, Kay Vess, mainly from the side of the internet that spends all day yelling, "Woke, woke," with the accusation that Ubisoft intentionally made her look bad because of politics or something. Well, after getting hands-on with the game for the last 5 days and playing around with the decent photo mode options, I can confirm the entire controversy is fake and Kay Vess doesn't actually look bad in-game. The photos on social media were just edited for clout. However, overall, I'd say my impression of the graphics was a bit mixed. Star Wars Outlaws is often an extremely beautiful game that will frequently make you want to fire up photo mode to capture the scenic landscapes, dazzling trips through space, and how much everything changes with the dynamic weather and day-night cycle. That said, the visuals also aren't as strong as what many have come to expect from AAA current-gen exclusive games. I switched back and forth between the graphics settings to test, but settled on the 60 FPS performance mode rather than the quality mode running at 30 because the visuals lack the detail, clarity, and sharpness we've seen from recent games like Stellar Blade and God of War Ragnarok, especially during cutscenes when you're seeing how characters mouth their lines.
The fate of the galaxy could depend on it.
Man, you guys never stop talking, huh?
I suspect they decided to sacrifice some visual fidelity to make the game bigger, and trust me when I say this game is massive. Throughout the main story, you will experience 5 explorable planets, including fan favorite Tatooine, and each one feels unique and lived in with fantastic art design and a ton of content to explore. I did my best to get through the story as fast as possible, while mostly sticking to side quests that I found important to help me complete my objectives, and I didn't roll credits on Star Wars Outlaws until I was 39 hours into the game. Once it's over, you're free to explore any of the worlds, completing side quests and finding Easter eggs, and I have a ton left over. Excluding the DLC story content the game is adding, I'd estimate you're going to spend around 60 to 80 hours trying to complete everything. I felt this is where the game shined the most. It took a relatively simple premise of this unknown character Kay Vess and her impossibly cute companion Nyx as they struggle to survive in the criminal underworld and pay off the huge debt Kay is drowning in. Roughly the first hour of the game is a tutorial that introduces you to some of the game's core mechanics while pulling you into the story, but the deeper into the game you get, the more things become intense with big plot twists and set pieces, plus some amazing cameos from across the Star Wars lore. I legitimately could not stop playing once the story started picking up near the end of your time on the second planet. I thought Ubisoft, for the most part, nailed what it is to have a truly open world Star Wars game. Your decisions actually matter for those needing to scratch that RPG itch. Star Wars Outlaws has a faction system once you reach the second planet, where you can take jobs from different criminal organizations that are fighting each other for power. Doing jobs for them will increase your reputation, and making them angry will drop it. You earn cool rewards by having a positive reputation in the form of cosmetics and gear, discounts at vendors, and the ability to freely move in their territory. Getting on their bad side means bad deals at their merchants, and you'll be forced to sneak through their territory, otherwise you'll be thrown out. If you really piss them off, they'll actually send hit squads after you. Choose wisely because your decisions will not only impact the story, but will potentially make future missions much more difficult. The other way Kay progresses is through abilities and equipment. Kay can earn new skills by meeting experts throughout the galaxy and meeting their unlock requirements. Everything from lockpicking and new combat abilities to improving your skills at Sabacc, the Star Wars version of poker. This is actually one of several mini games that you'll discover, with a few of them making for interesting side quests, especially Sabacc, which I kinda got hooked on. As you explore, you will also find materials that can be used to upgrade your ship and blaster, which you'll need to do if you want to clear later challenges. There's also a scaled down gear system that I thought was very effective. As part of your loadout, you get clothes for your upper body, your belt, and your lower body. Some of what you'll earn is purely cosmetic, while others have unique abilities that will boost Kay's skills. There are even set bonuses on rare gear that rewards you with extra abilities for wearing all the pieces. You also get charm slots that allow you to fit even more bonus skills, and your companion Nyx gets 2 slots. One is purely cosmetic and the other is cleverly presented as a bowl of treats that you get by ordering a meal on each planet and completing a food minigame. At the end, you get the dish as a gear piece for Nyx that gives him a special skill, like the ability to automatically knock away grenades that are thrown at you. I very much enjoyed how Star Wars Outlaws handled progression, especially with a surprise expert that I won't spoil here. I'll just say I was extremely happy to see them appear in the game. Accessibility was also pretty impressive, giving players a lot of options to customize the gameplay experience, like deciding whether or not you want to pick locks with the game's cool rhythm system, or just simplify the entire thing by breaking locks with 3 or 4 clicks. The one thing that held some of this great content and progression back was the gameplay. Fans of Ubisoft won't be able to help being reminded of the Assassin's Creed games based on how much stealth plays a role in Outlaws, which in this case is not a good thing because the mechanics are not nearly as polished. The stealth AI is pretty stupid, and worse off, it's a bit janky. For example, when you perform a takedown, there is about a 2-second delay after you press the button before the animation starts, which can sometimes cause you to miss the takedown and be forced to beat them up with normal melee or shoot them and hope this doesn't alert anybody else. Also expect part of the sacrifice for having these large worlds is that your ability to traverse is much more limited than the Assassin's Creed games, which only tend to worry about one main location. You won't be parkouring everywhere and will need to find the correct areas to use any of your traversal abilities, which can be pretty frustrating, particularly when you're outside trying to move around a cliffside and your climbing animation won't trigger. Fortunately, I never experienced any frame drops or crashes, but I did get a few bugs, like this weird audio one. And there were 2 missions I had to close the app and restart to finish because it glitched out. Otherwise, performance was excellent on my PS5, and I definitely expect some patches to be released to address some of these issues. The music definitely had no problems though. The Star Wars Outlaws soundtrack absolutely slaps and really elevates every moment of the game to new levels. I was really impressed with how they managed to capture the essence of Star Wars without just reusing a variation of the same theme, and instead made a score that was truly unique to this scoundrel fantasy. Overall, Star Wars Outlaws left me eager to keep exploring and hoping that Star Wars games embrace the open world format going forward, though ideally from the perspective of the Mandalorians next time. Despite a few bugs and a general issue with polishing AI, I really enjoyed my time with Star Wars Outlaws and will definitely be returning for the DLC, which comes with the Ultimate Edition Ubisoft sent me. Star Wars Outlaws is available for those who pre-ordered to get early access starting on August 27th and releases for everyone else on August 30th. I'll be live doing a brand new playthrough of Star Wars Outlaws to avoid spoiling the game too early.